Hi
Sure.
everyone. Hi team. We have Nirupam with us, who has recently passed his CISSP, I think last week, and we all have the privilege to have him with us. So Nirupam, it's time for you. All time for you. You have done a lot of hard work. You have done a lot of research, and then you prepared yourself for the exam and finally cracked this exam, right? So how you are feeling now?
Well, I'm feeling great, but hope what all you said was true, right? Because I followed your path and I didn't research as much as they show on LinkedIn, right? So I didn't spend that much time, like 1 year or 2 years or so. Yes, uh, examination I took little late because I have some commitments, like I have a 2.5-year-old at home, so he he needs quality time as well, so I get little time for my studies, so that prompted me to take the exam at a later stage. But uh, what I did is I just followed your methods, what you told in the previous class, right? So not to think too much about uh, a lot of things, and then not to refer too many materials, um, and you just find one source of truth and follow it blindly, and then by the in fact, before the exam, I just want to share this. Before the exam, when I was taking my MCQs, so I did the exam preparation in three phases. One was the study things, one was your classes, and third one was the practice exams. So your classes helped me to understand the basics when I was not so confident, like risk management. I have never worked. I've always been part of security operations and engineering, but risk or auditing was never my core specialty, right? Not my core strength. So your classes helped me to understand how the quantitative versus qualitative risk analysis works, and how the basics of those things. And what I have learned in CISSP is, like, you should be great with your basics. You don't have to know in depth, but the basics should be great. Like, you cannot miss on basics at least. So your classes helped me a lot on basics. Then obviously the study, I took one book and studied that same book. I didn't refer anything else. I didn't refer any other videos as well. Like, I didn't refer to what they say, follow this guy on LinkedIn or this guy on Cyber Array. So I didn't follow that as well. Um, and the MCQs that I did from my practice test exam, which is Cybex, so Village. So initially when started, I was hitting like 70, 72%, 75%. But when I was appearing for it, I used to see all the four options which is there, not just the right answer, but all the four options, and try to find all the four options in the book, what all four options is, and how it is different from each other. And that helped me to understand the difference between the right answer and wrong answer. It looks the same, but how it is different, right? So that helped me a lot in getting my scores higher. um, Apart from that, so before reaching the test examination hall, I was almost hitting 90, 92%, 93% in my MCQs. And that time I was confident enough that I can appear for the exam, and I can crack it. So that is like, in a nutshell, this is the story of my CISSP.
Wow, wow, Nirupam, you were scoring like 90, 92%. That's a great thing, right? To have.
Yeah,
Um,
but initially it was just 70. I started with like 70. Anybody who will appear for the MCQs which is there on Willis, I think
mhm.
almost everybody will get 70, 72 easy. Uh, but
Correct, correct.
but going by the CISSP flow, following your videos, and then looking into the difference between answers, That helped me. And one more thing, which was the made up answers, right? Some short form which is not there. So reading helped me to discard those as well, right? So
Yeah, yeah, true, 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 true. So, Nirupan, just one question, right? Let me take it for the group as well. Many of the people in this group are just starting. Many of them, they are not having so much of experience in security as well, right? They are quite like changing their domain from one domain to another, right? So in that sense, considering that part, right, how do you feel like the preparation should go in? How much time one should be investing into this entire effort, and how
mhm.
do you manage work and your preparation time, right? That's always the cat and mouse kind of game, right? Very, very difficult to manage.
True, sir. So uh, the first question is like anybody who's starting who, or trying to move into cybersecurity with the certification. Um, the best part with CISSP is if you know infrastructure and you know operations and you know development. So if you are aware of IT, it's one or the same. Doesn't matter from which field of IT you are coming from, right? Because the questions over there is asked on the basis of common sense or common knowledge. What I can say, it's it does not ask you any. It does not go into depth into any of the domains, right? So anybody who's aware of IT or is working within the IT infrastructure will find it easy to crack, right? And anybody who starts will again, I'd say, will start hitting 65 to 70 with MCQs right from the beginning, right? I mean, I'm talking about the test papers. I'm not talking about the exam papers, but the test papers. So from there you have to reach to a level when you have to go to 90, which is just so 65% to 70% is already done. You have to work to get to another 20%. That's it.
That's correct. And as you said, Nirupam, most of these questions are based on security sense and common sense, right?
Comments.
So
True, sir.
security sense is what we are going to get through this particular training. For common sense as well, normally we have some sessions, right? Like practicing questions and those kind of stuff. So
Right.
tell me, sometimes you might be demotivated as well because it's a lengthy journey. CISSP is not a kid's game. So tell me how you manage those times when you were low, you were not getting progress, you were not feeling confident. It happens, right?
Yes, sir. Definitely it happens. And as I said, like for me, the major challenge was to balance work, family, as well as because my wife is also working and there's no caretaker, and I have a 2.5 year old. So when I started preparing, he was not even two. So so that time
So,
he needed intense care. So to do that, what I did is I fixed 2 hours after his sleep time. So he usually uh, sleeps at 10 o'clock. So from 10 to 12 or 1 o'clock at night was my time for studies with zero disturbance. Like I don't need anybody around. I'll not lock the room because that way I'll be inaccessible. But if it is not mandatory to come in, uh, please don't come after he sleeps because I can't tell him that. So that is one thing. 3 hours of daily practice reading. Again, the three parts together. I did not say that I'll read today and then go through videos after reading all the stuff and then go through the MCQs. I started doing it simultaneously so that I understand what I have read versus what I have been taught versus how am I answering the questions. So I started all the things together, uh, and I think yeah, 2 3 hours of daily was sufficient for two and a half months, like 60 to 70 days, and the last 20 days because I booked the exam earlier. I did not like you said in your previous class, book your exam early, because that gives you motivation. That there's also a fear factor that, okay, my money is at stake, right? So
Correct.
there's also a fear factor which push push you towards studies. So I booked my exam earlier. So first 60-65 days I went through this. Last 10 days I took a week leave from my office. So 2 weekends, Friday, Saturday, 5 days of the week, and then Friday, Saturday. So total of 9 days I took, and there I studied like 8 to 9 hours per day, without break. No social gathering, no nobody, was there. So that 10 days I spent there watching all the material, and in those 10 days I did not refer to any new material, because that could confuse me. I didn't
Correct.
even Google new answers. Whatever is available with me, whatever I have gone through already, I will go through the same stuff again and again, so that my concept gets clear. So
True.
if in exam something comes which I'm not aware of, I'll just leave it. Like, I'll not even attempt. I'll not waste my time there. Uh, but whatever I know, I'll be able to answer it successfully, and that was my strategy.
And that's very valuable thing you told, Nirupam. Because what I see, many people over a period of time, they are confused. They are confused because CISSP is the big thing for them. This is the first time they are going for it, and they start searching on internet, and you can very easily get misled, right? There is so much of stuff, different people saying different things. It's just like a fish market, people sitting in a room and chit chatting, and somebody telling his own advice, somebody telling his own advice. It can be super confusing for people, right? So I think that's the key, right? Stick to one strategy, whatever it is, and focus on the basic concepts instead of going and researching too much and going too much into this. CISSP is all about 1 inch deep and a mile wide. That is how it is said to be. So that's great, Nirupam. I think that will definitely motivate many of us here. But yes, I will now open this to the other team members as well. I know they are having a lot of questions for you, Nirupam, and I know you also may have some other commitments. So let's start getting onto the team as well. Let them ask you questions.
Sure.
So
Glad
over to
glad
you,
to
team.
answer.
Over to you, team.
Hey, congrats, Nirupam, for achieving this milestone.
Thank
It's
you.
where, like everyone, every aspirant over here might be looking forward for this. I may not be a question, rather be a suggestion or a way of looking from my end. What you mentioned, like you were achieving 70 to 75% in the beginning of your days. I also had that kind of experience myself when I was attempting the first unit or the second domain upfront. So what I found is that like a lot of modules and a lot of subjects are partially in present to other domains as well. So if we look into one physical defense or physical security as a question, or we see any legal or any forensic kind of research, so you will find a lot of materials or subject wise description on domain wise. So what I have seen that instead of just giving one first domain a full concentration, when we have a overall a holistic view of all the domains and understanding of each and every topics from various domains perspective, I rather get into more understanding and resolving the answer myself in a better way. So instead of like having 72% in the first round and then mugging the other remaining 28-25% for the first domain may not help a lot. But if you give a holistic view to all the domains in together and then come back to the first domain and get the answer, it will be easier. It was easier for me to attain that level of 80s or 90s where you go. So I think you agree with me in that sense.
I mean, 100%, Nikunj. Like, there's no doubt that. So that's how I say. So I started with 70, and the way I reached 90 is going through the process. So, okay, many aspirant like me who know less. or have not researched a lot on CISSP, they think of CISSP 8 domains as 8 isolated domains when there's no interconnection, right?
Mhm.
So
Correct.
as physical security is like, it will be all about physical security and there will be no connection with other domains, which is not true at all the domains are interlinked, like they are chained. So if you understand risk management, you will start understanding asset security better. If you'll start if you'll start with asset security, then you will probably understand networking better, and that's how the flow goes. They are just interlinked with each other. You cannot say that, okay, if I have read 4 domains and it says 14% coverage, 15% coverage, and 14% coverage, I have covered all 45%. That is not true.
Right.
That is like, so if you have to cover domain 100%, you have to go through the 8 domains just to cover domain 100%.
Agree.
So yeah, and that's how I reached 90% mark after going through all the 8 domains. So I started with 70, 72, but then when I, let's say, when I completed 4 or 5 domains, that's when I started reaching 80, 83, 85, that kind of mark. And when I completed all the 8 domains twice, and that's when I was hitting like 90, 95% mark.
Yeah, right. I agree. Thanks, Nirupam.
Yeah. So I think I can also add my 2 cents here, right? Because Nikunj, this is how it is. You need to start with 70, right? It's a process, as Nirupam is saying, right? It's a process. Your maturity will start increasing as you go and think more about cross domain when you are done with it. But that baseline of 70% is very, very important. Otherwise, what normally happens is people start preparing for CISSP. There are few of my friends I know. They are, for years together, they are thinking to do their CISSP. They will never be able to do it. Not that I am criticizing them, because they don't have the right strategy. So the strategy is, everything has to go in parallel. You see the videos, you go through the notes, you try to validate your understanding as well. This has to be a three-headed approach. After training for 5 6 years now, I understood this very clearly. CISSP is nothing like tandem. You cannot cover 8 domains then start practicing questions. By that time you will forget domain number 1 to 3. And somebody forgetting domain number 1 and 3, it will never give you a chance to come back.
Right.
Another 1 year lost in the same preparation, right? So that's very important that you parallelly also prepare for questions as well.
Right, right, sir.
I would recommend every day go and practice. At least make a habit of practicing 20 25 questions every day. Let it be wrong. Let it be you might be scoring 50%. That's fine, completely fine. As Nirupam told, right? It's a process. Over a period of time, it will increase. And also, very important, because there are a lot of dumps available on internet. Do not just pick up any random thing, because nothing is up to the standard of ISC square. Nothing is up to that particular standard. So you finding the right question is also very important, because if you're not finding the right question and you are trying to do it, then it may also demotivate you. You may feel like, what man, after going through that much, I am just scoring 40%, even though you are prepared, right? Because CISSP questions, at least they will not have one thing. They will not have any kind of verbiage problem in the question. They will not be prepared with some biased mind. Like, for example, I am an identity management guy. Uh, that is not their intent, right? Somebody who is into identity management will try to get the questions towards his own expertise. That thing you will not get in CISSP questions, right? So I think, I don't want to take much of time, but I thought, okay, that will help everyone. So
Sir,
over to back to you, T. Yeah.
sir, sorry, I just joined. Sir, where we get these questions, like where we can get this question back, whether you mentioned it or not, I missed that part.
Yes, so there's only one question bank I followed. I didn't follow anything else. And that one question was bank was uh, village, basically official practice test. Second edition I used. I think they have released third edition, so you should use third edition, because in the exam I found one or two questions which came from third edition, because I've never heard of those topics.
Okay.
So please follow the third edition. And you can use the computer, so you don't have to use the book. um, on the last page there is a way of enrolling for the computer exam, I mean computer test. You enroll it that way, and you can give the exam on computers.
Yeah,
Or
I
mobile.
will guide. I will guide the group on that, Nirupam. So that is also a very good source. I think 1,300 questions there as well.
Yeah,
And mix it up
1600.
with whatever we have. We also have like around now 3,500 questions also. So 3,500 plus whatever Nirupam is saying, that Vile Wala, and then add it up with one more app which is called as
Secure. Secure.
Pocket Prep for Learns app, right? So just add it with that. So CCCure is no more with us, Nirupam.
No.
They increase the price, so
Yeah, I'm
it
so
is
expensive.
out of our affordability now.
Yeah, so even because when I took CCQs, I was very new. I mean, I just started preparing. So even then, I didn't utilize it as much as I used Ville, and didn't help me a
But
lot.
now we already have a database created for all the questions, like 3,500 questions we have at this time,
Awesome,
which also include mock test and everything.
great. Yeah, so
Okay.
that I think that should be sufficient. 3,000 plus
Yeah.
questions should be sufficient. Uh, and when I'm telling 90%, I'm just referring to the village question bank's answer. So if you're referring to anything else, don't go by these numbers. These are not the numbers for any other tests or exam courses. So
Yeah.
you can
Very
you
true.
can
Very true.
yeah, you can be your own judge when you're answering those.
And sir, you
Couldn't
mentioned
miss.
about the Learners app. So what I have found that the Willies and Learners content, why 60% is similar. So if you still go with one question bank, just go with Willies, that will be sufficient. Learners app is also like having same questions, just tech terminologies have changed. Idea is same. So it will rather confuse more. So I gave both like 1,000 question for Willies and 1,000 for that. So I didn't find much difference.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's a great info.
Manoj sir, I even found most of the people have started using CISSPprep.net. Again, it comes with 1,500 questions. So can you please throw a light on this, because I have no idea if anybody has used
Yeah,
in the
I will
previous.
give you insights. I will give you insight. Maybe we will have a dedicated session for all this, right? But as of now, the focus is more on getting more and more from Nirupam. So that can give you guys a lot of motivation, right? So we will discuss on those things separately for sure, Lisa.
Yeah. And there are a few few things I want to highlight as well in terms of the questions. Will be like 4 hours exam, 175 questions, but I don't think you'll have to attend more than 150, right? I mean, and that is the time management you should keep 240 hours for 150 questions if you're preparing it that way, right? uh, because you have to rush into the questions without actually rushing into the question. So you have to read the questions carefully, because the questions are good English test in terms of they use not and things like that, which might confuse you. All but one, and that kind of term it will use. So you have to manage your time, but you don't have to rush into your answers. So prepare for 150 in 4 hours. I think you will be done before that, but it's the worst case scenario. I'm talking about like 150 questions in 240 hours. Direct questions will hardly be any direct questions. It will be like maybe 10 or 15 direct questions they will ask. when they say, okay, um, what is the protocol used for encrypting certain, so there will be like 4 options and you have to select the right option. So these type of direct questions would be hardly 10 to 15. Rest all will be scenario based questions, when they'll give you a scenario. X person of ABC company is trying to implement this, and this is the situation. What do you think is the best option amongst the given options, right? So this is the typical question set which they will ask. Best options, um, uh, best approach, and that is the keyword you have to look into. So all the answers will be right. Even if you implement anything else, will not be wrong. But what CISSP tells you, or teaches you, like in, you have to understand between the difference between each option. And if you have read the book, you'll be able to judge what CISP wants you to answer. So if you have gone through the classes, if you have gone through the material, probably you'll get that answer very easily.
Nirupam, I had a question. So, like for example, domain one, as you do the questions, was there a pattern you were observing in your weaknesses? Like that is what I observed, that in every domain there are some questions that consistently I get it wrong. And how do you kind of improve on those concepts? Like how do you look for topic wise questions to kind of make sure those concepts are hammered in the head and that pattern is changing to go from that 70 to 90?
MCQs. That's all I can say is MCQs. If I have given an answer wrong, that's what I'm say. I Initially I was just focusing on what's the right answer, and if my answer is right, I'll not go back and look into that question, because I have got the right answer. I know it. That was my initial mindset. But later on, what happened is, I answered, even if I answered it correctly, I used to look into all the other 3 options which are not right. And I used to brainstorm why these are not right and why this is right. And that helped me to uh, improve my scores later on.
Okay, team. Any other questions?
So you referred Cyber's book, right? Nirupam?
Yes.
Okay.
Only one book, only one material. I mean, one MCQ and one book. And all the videos was search video. That's it.
Right.
Okay, guys. Any other questions for Nirupam?
Hey Nirupam, do you think we need to go through the book like mandatorily if we just follow sir's videos, or if we just, so do you think it is necessary to go through each and every line of or all the pages, or we can just go through one concept which we are unclear and then stay on one material?
Yeah, that is right. Like, you don't have to go through the book religiously. It You just need to understand what each topic says. Like, if you have a broad understanding of what each topic says, or basically you have the basics cleared for what each topic says, that is sufficient enough. Book helped me to get only one thing right, is the made up answers, like, made up short forms, what usually comes into the exam, right? And if you are not, so I'm talking about me personally, if I don't know something, I usually tend to think that that should be the right answer. That is my problem. I know it's not everybody's problem, but for me that was a problem. Like, if I don't know it, maybe that's the right answer. And if I'll not check on that one, I'll get it wrong. And I used to check on that one, and I used to get it wrong. so, reading the book helped me to weed out those made up terms or made up short forms. So that's where the book helped me.
Thank you, Nirupam.
Wonderful. Okay, so Nirupam, guys, anybody else have more questions for Nirupam? Okay, so let me go ahead, right? As per your entire plan, the way you have prepared and everything, how do you rate Cybernose, and what you feel is some improvement area for us so that we can actually go and improve this further? And how do you rate it in the overall scheme of success for CISSP?
So, sir, I'd rate it a solid 9.5 out of 10. A 0.5 is the area of improvement what I'm talking about. So, there's at the time when I was doing, there was no question answer, which you said has been fixed. Like there are more than 3,500,
Yeah.
because I got C secure access, but that was just the beginning of my preparation, and I was not getting a lot of value out of it because since it was initial preparation, I was not sure why it is answering it the way it is answering it, right? So that is the 0.5. I think that is the area for improvement for my batch, which was 22. Now we are on 26. So batch 22, I'd say that is one thing. Another thing I'd say is, I mean, I love the content, sir. The way you taught like risk, I'm in awe of how easily I understood that topic, right? If I'll go through the book 10 times, I'll not get the concept what I got in the class, because you gave me, I mean, there was a group discussion on quantitative versus qualitative analysis, and we rate a lot of risk, and we gave the asset value, we gave the exposure factor. And so that particular piece was a cakewalk for me, and that really saved a lot of my time. And also, so that is just one example which I have given. So I think the classes helped me a lot in terms of building my confidence as well as answering the questions.
Thanks, Nirupam, for that. Because I know by then and by now, the platform also and the things also has changed completely. A lot of revamping and new things are coming in the platform. So thanks for that. Rating me for 9.5. I think I still myself don't feel like I am somewhere around 8. I still feel, because as one of the guy who is making this all, I still feel there are a lot of gaps, like from my mindset perspective. But yes, if this is kind of working for you guys, nothing like it, man. That is what I can say. Thank you so much for all this, right?
Yes, sir. And that shows for you, right? You're still trying to improve, you're still trying to get more. So that is
Right.
how as students, that's how we are gaining, sir. So thank you so much for conducting these classes. It's difficult to have that personal attention and as well as personal coaching when you need it the most. So and that kudos to you, sir.
So, guys, one more round. Anybody has any final questions with Nirupam? Because I think, as Pratima ma'am told,
Hi,
we
Nirupam.
sort of
Congratulations. Just one request. As you have cleared your CISSP, so I would request you to be our guest in one of the upcoming sessions where we'll be calling, the people who have cleared CISSP among our group members. So please be with us and be active in the group. Though you have cleared it, but keep motivating and encouraging the other people in the group. This is what I
Definitely, ma'am.
request.
Sure, ma'am.
so
Definitely.
I think we have so many CISSPs now in the group. So all of these people need to come together and motivate the group for those who are actually preparing. And I'm pretty sure all of them will be very, very happy, including you. So that is what it's a little lag from my side. I should have already started that. But yes, me and Fatima ma'am has a plan to bring in all CISSPs together, discussion, some kind of open discussion. And you guys can also come and contribute to the classes as well, like whichever area specialty you guys have, feel free to come and take some classes for you. So that is also a good, learning for everyone as well.
Sir, last question from me. Sorry for that. Nirupam, what is next?
What's next?
Once you, yeah, CISSP clear. How it's helped you in your office life, your career perspective, and what is next in your goal?
Okay. So I've not decided my goal. I mean, I'm quite happy with my current organization, and I'm the same employee which I was before CISSP. However, after CISSP, I've seen uh, a change in mindset. So when you are suggesting something as a CISSP, as an individual who is CISSP certified, is like they give notice. I mean, they notice your suggestion, they value your suggestion. So there are a few new suggestions which I have told to implement within my organization, and those are being taken seriously. And in fact, there's one ITIL ticket already started for implementing that, and one we are in our way of getting it. And both the ideas I got it from my CSSP book itself. I cannot tell you for confidentiality reasons what are those ideas, but then yeah, people, you in fact as an individual you will have more suggestions to give because you are a more confident individual, I think, or maybe more knowledgeable individual, I don't know. uh, but you are a more confident individual, and you know that what you are telling is referred in some book, right? And those books are written by somebody who's highly skilled in their profession, right? So you get that confidence that okay, whatever I'm telling is not wrong, because a guy who's very skilled in this field has written this one. So so that gives you that kind of confidence. I don't know about career, how it will help your career, because I have not thought of changing as of now. So
Just one interesting fact, Manoj sir. Nirupam, you might know me at Tushar's place. You only recommended to join sir's batch, and you started the journey. So I think you gave that kind of motivation to help me join this batch, this group, and perceive the CISSP aspiration. So thank you a lot for your guidance.
thanks for listening to me. People don't take me seriously.
No, so much of valuable information, Nirupam, and very rightly said, very nicely put up for everyone in the group. I am hoping for some more engagement in the coming time, for sure, just to make sure that the group is all churned up and all the time, into the frame of things, right? Motivated all the time, because that is very much required for CISSP. That is where I definitely need you guys to, all of to, come together and help others, right?
Yeah. And yeah, one last thing I wanted to mention before leaving is please do concentrate on domain 8. Those were the lowest hanging fruit of CSSP exam when I was giving it, because the answers were not even an inch deep. So what type of testing you will imply if you are joining two modules together, and that kind of questions they were asking. And you have simple answers like unit testing, regression testing, whatever it is. So domain 8, even if you don't know anything about software development, still that is the easiest domain to score your marks. So So that is one suggestion I wanted to put up before leaving. So yeah, please don't. And I wish you guys all the best and success in your CISSP journey. Um, Hope you have a good one.
Thank you so much, Nirupam, for giving your wonderful insight.